Hi, little bitches. Hi, you little stinky, smelly little whores. So I just thought that I would start this video off by saying that there's a lot of noise going on in my backyard. There's a ton of like construction and shit going on in my backyard, literally right over there. So I'm sorry if you can hear it. That's why I'm using the mic so close to my face, because I'm hoping that it'll tune out everything else going on over there. If not, then oh well, deal with it. I don't really know what to tell you. Sorry. Okay, so today's video is gonna be right up my fucking alley. So we're going to be talking about movies. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the film student community movies. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's kind of a thing on TikTok. People will make like a TikTok when you ask a film student for film recommendations, and it's the same basic list, but they just so happen to also be some of my favorite movies. So I thought that today we could explore these movies together and kind of just talk about them. I wanted to talk about them. I wanted to also rank them like you would on Rotten Tomatoes. So I want to get into the video. Okay, so I have the list over here to my right. Okay, so we're gonna work kind of backwards here because the last movie I want to talk about, I want to save until the end. The first movie we're gonna talk about, I saw a couple days ago, which is what inspired this video. Red Sparrow. Now, I don't think I've actually seen this on like the film student recommendation, whatever thing. I feel like nobody talks about this movie. I've heard nobody speak of this movie. Pretty much Red Sparrow. Also, I'm going to give you a synopsis of every single movie we're talking about today. So we love it. We love a queen who is saving you guys time and energy. If you want to watch one of these movies, I will recommend every single one of these movies on this list, except for one, but we're going to get into that. So Red Sparrow, Jennifer Lawrence, she is a dancer. An accident happens. She can no longer be a dancer. So she needs to support her mother some way, somehow, because I believe she has like Parkinson's or something and she needs assistance. And so she's recruited by the CIA. And now it sounds very plain and boring and stale, but it was right up my alley. I really, really liked this movie. It was really sick. So trigger warnings to anybody who wants to watch this movie. It's disgusting and has a lot of scenes that I wish weren't included. But yeah, it didn't even really add to the story. Like, honestly, I'm not going to spoil anything either, except for I will tell you if I'm going to spoil something. So we're just going to leave it at that. I recommend this movie. It's a very good movie. It definitely, okay, I like movies that kind of provoke me, and whether that be in a good way or a bad way, if it's like kind of gruesome and uncomfortable to watch, I like that. Because it proves to me that it's a good movie. If that's not your thing, don't watch this movie. I'm telling you right now, don't watch it because you will thoroughly regret it. But like overall, really like this movie. I will give it a nice 85%. That's final rating. Why did I? So next, we're going to talk about the movie Good Time. Also a movie that nobody ever talks about. And we're going to rectify that today. Good Time stars Robert Pattinson. And it's so good. These are the same exact people who put out Uncut Gems. So if you recently watched that with Adam Sandler and you enjoyed it or whatever, I recommend watching Good Time. I watched this like last year. Robert Pattinson's in it, like I said. Love it. We love to see it. And he commits a robbery with his brother who has a disability, and his brother gets caught. Robert Pattinson does not get caught, and his brother goes to Rikers. It's set in New York, so Rikers Island is terrible. It's actually being taken down because it's such a terrible prison. Sorry, it's a jail, not a prison. I'm just my brain. I'm a criminal justice major, I'll let you know. Yes, his brother is in Rikers Island, and he wants to bail him out because he knows that he will not do well in this jail, specifically because it's Rikers Island. So he has to come up with a way to get the money. I believe it's like $10,000 or something like that. So he's going, you follow him all through the night trying to figure out how to get this money, and he just does a ton of things to try and get his brother out of jail, you know? Also, while that's happening, he is also wanted. So he's trying to do all of this without getting caught by the police because they know that it was him and his brother who did it because they have his brother, so they know it was him. So yeah, this movie, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I didn't think I was gonna like it. This is the kind of genre that I'm really into. Like the A24 studio movies are the best ones. So highly recommend this movie. I will give it a nice 93%. And that's that on that. That's the reason I'm talking about all of these movies first that I don't have much to say about is because just that I don't have much to say about them, but other than they're good movies, like I can't really talk about them without giving things away. Next movie we're going to talk about is The Departed. Now, I have to really explain what this movie is about in order for you to keep up. So, The Departed, directed by Martin Scorsese, which is one of my favorite directors. Martin Scorsese, as well as... No, Martin Scorsese is the only one, I believe, who does this, aside from Quentin Tarantino. Martin Scorsese loves to reuse the same people. He loves reusing the same, 5 people that he uses in pretty much all of his movies. So, Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, those people. The Departed. This is one of his most underrated movies, in my opinion. Everybody talks about, Shutter Island, and now they're talking about Once Upon a Time in the Hollywood, whatever the fuck. But The Departed, I believe it's still on Netflix. So you have no excuses, none, to not watch this movie. We're following Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio, right? They're both going through the academy in Boston to become police officers, right? So we're following them through this process. Matt Damon, he gets through it and you see him move up the ranks very quickly. Leonardo DiCaprio begins, and then once he is inducted or whatever, he gets approached and is told pretty much, you're not going to be a cop, you're going to go undercover and you're going to do this thing because there's this, I don't know, it's is it a mob situation? I don't fucking know. But they want to catch this guy who is doing mob-like activities. Just so happens that this guy that they're trying to catch is Matt Damon's father figure, because he kind of raised him a little bit. So pretty much Matt Damon is the rat in this section of the police force because they want to take down this guy and they can't seem to catch him and they can't figure out how. And so they also have undercover informants. So Matt Damon is trying to figure out the identity of Leonardo DiCaprio throughout the whole movie. And Leonardo DiCaprio is trying to figure out his identity the whole movie, but they don't know. They don't ever really interact. They don't interact. So that's pretty much what the whole movie's about. That was really hard to explain. This movie is really hard to describe. Pretty much, it's really fucking good. It's a long movie. It has a lot of symbolism in it and stuff. I studied this movie in my cinema class in high school because there was just a lot to talk about. So that's all I'm gonna say about that movie. I'm gonna give it a 96% because this is, again, like I said, one of my favorite movies. So I guess I'm a little biased when it comes to it. The last movie that I don't really have much to say about is American Psycho. Now, for some reason you've never seen American Psycho or you've never heard of American Psycho, it stars Christian Bale. Now, I have mixed emotions about this movie for some reason because it's really good. It's really good. But also I didn't get it. Okay, so I watched it, I think twice on my own, and I just recently saw this movie. I saw it maybe 6 months ago for the first time ever. So I watched it that time. I think I watched it a separate time. And then I watched it with my cousin who had also never seen it. And then we talked about it afterwards and she enlightened me on what the movie was really about because I didn't get it. I didn't fully grasp it for some reason. And I watch movies all the time. This is what I do. It's my favorite activity. I love movies. And I just didn't get it for some reason because I'm a fucking idiot. Pretty much, Christian Bale in this movie, he's this rich as fuck stockbroker, and you're pretty much following. You can look up that scene, his morning routine. That's really popular. It's really popular on TikTok right now also. So you can look that up and you'll know what movie I'm talking about. But pretty much he's a serial killer, and you're kind of just following a rich serial killer do serial killer things. There's a storyline of a specific kill that he does that is really important to the entire story, but yeah, I'm not gonna give that away, obviously, duh. It's really good. But for some reason, my small, stupid brain just couldn't get it, you know? I don't even know why I couldn't get it. It's so obvious. I'm stupid. I took it the completely opposite way. I guess this is a spoiler. So for anybody who actually wants to watch this movie, skip this part, I guess. I was like taking the ending as like rich people can kind of do whatever they want because they'll get away with it in the end. Like because he goes to the apartment, there's nothing there, meaning like somebody cleans it up for him, and his lawyer like kind of like it can be taken that his lawyer hints like shut the fuck up, like I took care of it, like stop talking about it now. But my cousin was like, girl, he imagined all this. And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. But I don't know, maybe like obviously it can be interpreted in different ways and shit. But I have the book actually, and I'm reading the book to see if what the book makes more clear. I'm pretty sure it's probably the one where it's all in his head. So now that we've discussed American Psycho, I'm gonna give it a 90%, give or take. These next few movies that we are going to talk about are probably are going to go down as some of my favorite movies of all time. Okay, the first movie we're going to talk about is Little Women because that's the one that I've most recently saw out of these. Little Women was amazing. So it's still in theaters, I believe, so you should definitely go watch it. It's worth the time. I don't know what you like to do in your free time, but I like to fucking just watch movies. But Little Women, Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, Timothée Chalamet, fucking, who else is in this movie? Saoirse? Is that her name? Fuck. I always say I don't know how to pronounce her name. Look up the pronunciation, and then the next time I need to say her name, it's just the same cycle again and again. But they're all amazing people. The cast of this movie is great. Meryl Streep is in it. We loved it. I have personally never been exposed to the story of Little Women before seeing this movie, believe it or not. The only other exposure that I had to Little Women was in Friends when Joey and Rachel switch books, and I think she reads The Shining and he reads Little Women, and then they're like pissed about what's going on in each other's book. But that was the only exposure that I've had to Little Women. I've never read the book. I've never seen any of the other remakes either. So this was fresh. This was new for me. First of all, storyline. She snapped. I thought that the way this one was structured was good. Supposedly, I went to see it with my friend Alex, and she said that in the one that she saw, it was completely different. Like the structure didn't have the bits where it flashed back or whatever. But regardless, would love to talk about this all day because I thought this movie was phenomenal. The way that it was done, aside from the story, obviously, because the story's timeless, it's staying the same. It's not going to change. But the way that the director took the movie, the way the casting, chef's kiss, bitch. So good. Like, perfect. Beautiful. We loved it. We loved to see it. No movie has stricken me this way since Call Me By Your Name. So I'm not going to talk about Call Me By Your Name, but like we all know that it's probably one of the best movies, and you know. Anyway, touching on that, back to Little Women. I loved it. Like, what else is there to say? This movie also this movie introduced me to Florence Pugh, who I want to marry. I love her so much. But I really loved this movie, ladies and gents. I thought it was beautiful. I also saw it on a matinee, so I only paid $12. I had the reclining seats. So like it was a full experience. Like I was really in there. So yes, Little Women, you snapped, okay? Greta, the director, you snapped. Next, now that we've discussed Little Women, the percentage, we're gonna give her a solid like 98%. Can you hear that? Can you hear that fucking hammering over there? Sorry. We're gonna give Little Women a solid 98%. Next, we're going to talk about Booksmart. So Booksmart is actually on Hulu, so you can go watch that too if you would like. The other ones that I mentioned are probably going to be harder to get a hold of because they're not on any streaming service that I know of. But Booksmart is on, or is it on Amazon Prime? I think it's on Amazon Prime or Hulu. It's on one of those. Just check, you'll find it. You know what you're doing. Booksmart was amazing. It was amazing. And here is why. Here's why. I'm going to tell you why right now. So, Booksmart. Ladies and gentlemen, I love coming of age movies. Edge of 17, Pretty in Pink, fucking Drive Me Crazy. All those, like, even like, okay, I mentioned one. If you noticed, I didn't mention that many, but I mentioned one movie that's taken place within the past 10 years on that list that I just mentioned. And that's because nobody makes good coming of age stories anymore. Aside from Perks of Being a Wallflower and Stuck in Love, we're going to just scoot those to the side. But aside from those, no good coming of age movies exist in the modern era, which is really annoying for somebody who is a whore for coming of age movies like me. That is what started my movie obsession, like watching all of those movies that used to be on Netflix that were taken off. Like Clueless used to be on Netflix. Like I said, Pretty in Pink used to be on Netflix. Drive Me Crazy, I recently saw. I don't know how. I've never seen that movie. What's that movie? With the one with Freddie Prinze Jr.? Why can't I remember the name of this movie, but I can remember Freddie Prinze Jr.'s name? You guys know who I'm talking about. But all those movies that came out like through the 80s and the 90s, 10 Things I Hate About You is also one of my favorite movies. And like, no one has done the coming of age genre that good since then, in my personal opinion. And I feel like Booksmart killed it. Like Booksmart did such a good job kind of reviving this category of movie for me. Like, it's so hard to make a good coming of age story that's funny, that's like charming, that has a good storyline, that is an actual coming of age story and like teenagers can relate to. Like, it's really hard to do all those things, like, because the directors are older people who don't relate to being a teenager anymore and shit. But this was just another chef's kiss. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Remy is quaking. Remy said chef's kiss. Booksmart was so good. It was so incredibly done. So funny. I loved everything about this movie. Hands down. I thought it was so fucking good. It was so refreshing and exciting to like have a real coming of age story. And we had the gays. There were gays. This movie snapped, okay? Booksmart, I'm going to give you the calm 99% that you deserve because it was just so good. Oh my God, I didn't explain. Pretty much what the movie is about. A girl and her best friend finished high school. It's the night before graduation. And one of them has come to the realization that they worked their asses off to get into great colleges while everybody around them didn't do the same, but also got into the same great colleges that they got into. So they are pissed. They're mad. They're livid. They want their return. They are like, no. So they decide that this is the night that they're going to go out and actually have fun and like just let loose because they've earned it and they feel like they haven't given themselves that opportunity in high school. And I just, chef's kiss. We love it. We love to see it. Next movie, Beautiful Boy. Okay. Woo! Okay. So Beautiful Boy is on Amazon Prime if you would like to watch it. I highly, highly recommend it. I thought, oh my God, like, it was just so heartbreakingly good. Steve Carell is in it, Timothée Chalamet, and it follows a story of this dad and his addict son, and he's trying to understand and help him and like just kind of get through this. And it's just, wow. I thought it was very well done. I've seen very mixed reviews about how people feel about this movie and stuff, but like me personally, I thought it was really fucking good. Like, I don't know what it is about movies that kind of are like Beautiful Boy. I feel like the only other movie I can kind of sort of compare it to is Perks of Being a Wallflower, where it's kind of this descent into something that you can kind of understand, but it's made so real. It's not like made to feel like a movie. I really don't know how to explain it, but Perks of Being a Wallflower kind of hits me the same way when I watch it, that like when you watch that movie, you can really relate to Charlie and you just kind of understand and you feel the pain that everybody's going through. And then when you watch Beautiful Boy, like it's just so fucking good. You know what I mean? It just does what a good movie needs to do in like making you sympathize with absolutely everybody in this movie. Like you sympathize with every last person that comes on screen in this movie. And that's really hard to do, especially in a movie where like people have such strong opinions on things like drug addiction. So watch this shit. That's all I gotta say. Watch this shit. 10 out of 10. Another 99%. Period! Okay. We're on to the last movie, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm really excited about this one because...
So, I don't know what happened to the audio here, but pretty much all I was saying was that Midsummer, I have very strong opinions about this movie, and I really, really wanted to discuss it. I didn't talk about it for a week after I saw it because it was just so like, and I really needed to sit on it and think about it, and I think that was what I was saying. I don't know. We'll never know. Sorry about that. So I completely also cut out the summary that I had put into this for Midsummer. Pretty much, I'm gonna quickly explain that for you guys. A girl loses her family, decides to go to Sweden with her boyfriend and her friends for this Swedish festival that one of their friends invited them to, and it just chaos ensues, my friend. And I just wanted to give context for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, because I'm pretty sure I say like Swedish festival and that would sound really out of place if I didn't kind of explain it. So yeah, enjoy the memes. Bye.
There's just so much to say. First of all, if you don't like gore, if you don't like psychological thriller, don't watch this movie. Like, I'm dead serious. Don't do it to yourself. If you're very sensitive to... I don't know how to explain it. This movie is going to leave you feeling very uncomfortable. You're going to feel unnerved and just unsettled after you watch this movie. And there's nothing I can really do to... Even if I sat here and I explained the whole thing and everything that happens, you still wouldn't get the full feeling of how, like, the weight of this movie. I don't know how to explain it, but it is brilliant. As somebody who watches movies all the time, I'm so aware of the things that are going on while I'm watching a movie. And with this one, you kind of just don't realize you're watching the movie. It's starting off slow. You're getting into it. You're going. You're doing your thing. And then as it gets to the back half of the movie, all of a sudden you're like really nervous and you're like, oh wow, like why am I sweating? Oh my God, what? Oh my God, my hand's shaking. Like, what? That's weird. That's exactly what's gonna happen when you watch this movie. You know when they made Blair Witch Project and they put in all those things to like physically make you uncomfortable as you were watching the movie? This movie kind of does that without doing all of those things. All of the shock value that they put on screen and the way that the story kind of just builds up just does it. Like, it just does it to you by itself. You don't need that whole like background music, white noise kind of thing to freak you out. It just does it. It just does it by itself. The closing shot of this movie is fucking insane. It is so sick. Whoever wrote the screenplay for this movie, I want to speak to you. I want to have a conversation with you. Meet me for coffee. I want to talk. But seriously, God, this movie it's a roller coaster. I literally didn't talk about it for a week, but I was thinking about it every single day for a week because I just didn't know how to articulate what the fuck I felt about this movie. It was so good, my friend. Mwah, chef's kiss. In the, like, I feel like horror movies have been like just brought down to this level that's just like, oh my, like, no offense to the Conjuring universe, but all of those movies, like, that's what we've come to with horror. And like Hereditary and Midsummer are making it into something else that is just as terrifying as like when our parents were growing up watching those old horror movies with all those really bad effects, and now we have CGI and shit. But like, even if we talk about the new It that had a ton of CGI in it, I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really, really good, but I didn't think it was particularly terrifying or scary. Like, it would keep me up at night. Midsummer would keep me up at night. This is the kind of shit that I want. This is what I want to see. I want to be fucking terrified of a fucking festival in Sweden. Like, that's shit that is just, it's so outlandish that it's fucking scary. Loved this movie. As sick, as uncomfortable, as just, whew, this movie was all of those things. You know, it was checking all those boxes where I was just like, wow, I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. But that was what made it so good to me. Now, I'm not going to say I recommend this movie to everybody. It's definitely not for everybody. But I really fucking liked it. I thought it was so fucking good. Another 99%, mwah, chef's kiss. We love it. We love to see it.
So are we surprised that my outro got lost? Yeah, that was pretty much the entire video. Thank you guys so much for watching this. It was chaos. It probably wasn't even entertaining, but I just really wanted to make this video because I love movies and movies make me really fucking dorky. So yeah, again, apologies for this disgusting, crusty ass outro. I made another video from last week and it's right here. It's the Harry Styles tier ranking. I ranked all of his music. So if you want to go watch that, you should go watch that. Yeah, everything you need to know is in the description and I will see you guys next time. Bye.